Hello, everybody. Welcome back. Hope you're having a wonderful day so far. My name is Michael, and we are back learning some Python like normal. Today is January 13th, 2025. We are 13 days into the new year here, so uh, anyone have their New Year's resolutions broken? Anybody still keeping theirs consistent? Uh, Hold on real quick. Hey, that's Steele. Welcome in. How's it going? How are you doing? All right. I'm not gonna lie. I'm pretty gassed today. I don't have a lot of energy. I'm just kind of I'm just kind of out of it. Sometimes you have these days where you're just kind of bleh, just kind of out of it right now, but I appreciate you joining me here. Welcome. How are you doing? Hey Mahan, welcome back in. How's it going? How you guys doing? You guys are welcome back, you guys. All right. Okay, everybody. We are back here. Um, I don't know if I want to do what I really want to do today. Like I said, I'm just kind of in limbo right now. I'm kind of feeling out of it today. It's just one of those days, just pretty tired and just not wanting to do much. But I gotta keep moving here. Gotta keep pushing. I think to get me warmed up, I think I want to start on the small business manager just because it's friendly. And then once my brain gets kicking, then we can maybe try a couple leak code problems. But I really don't want to tackle some leak code problems right now. I don't want to have to think too hard. Hopefully, you guys can understand. I just been getting stuff going and work here this week, and I'm just kind of beat today. So hopefully you guys can bear with me. I'll try my best to keep the energy going. I might need you guys' help, but thank you guys so much for joining me here. We're about to cross 890 subs, which is absolutely insane. You guys are just so awesome supporting me, and I am curious to what you guys are working on. Like what do you value out of this channel, and what do you guys study in your time, and what level of coding and programming are you? Are you beginner? Are you working alongside me in these things, or what's going on with you guys? Script Serpent, welcome back. How's it going? Okay, so the only thing though, guys, is my function now is just becoming really large, or my file rather, right? I mean, it's not terrible, but it's just getting kind of crazy here. So last time we were left off, we were on the edit expense tab here. So if we go into our program, go yes, go to the expenses menu. We can add expenses easily, right? Uh, you know, and those are saved in our JSON here, just like that. Boom, right? So now we can press 2 here to find edit expense. If we press 2 for an expense that's not here, we get error. We get an error. If we press 0, right, one that's lower, we get that same error. If we press ABC, not even an integer, we get not convertible to type int. So that error is thrown to us. So now if we give the expense 1, right, now we're left with this error here. So we can access this expense um, so in order to I'd have to either convert this JSON, script or type back into my object, or I would have to use dictionary notation, access the dictionary using the number and then the certain method, right, associated with it. So, how to do that? How to do that? So it doesn't like this right here, right? Expense number. So in order to insert the expense number, go like this, quote number like this, like so. Now that would give me the expense number. So if I wrote it like, if I went in, did yes, expenses, find, edit, number 1, there we go. Expense number 1 selected. Please select an attribute. So then I'm going to it's waiting for input here. I kind of want to print. What happens if I print the expense? And then let's print the description, right? So if I run this, yes, expenses, find, edit, number 1, we print out a 1 here, which is not the description. Oh, it is the description. So I need to make hold on, let me go back to inventory menu. Hold on. Let me edit this JSON expense. Let me make the description test. So now if we run this, yes, expenses, find, edit, number 1. Okay, perfect. So we can override it by just calling the key of the expense, right? Because the expense itself is a dictionary. The dictionary is a value of another dictionary, which the key of its number. So it's kind of complex and interesting, but it is pretty cool. So what we can do, right, is we can call to update the expense description or the expense amount, date, category, method, note, or back to inventory menu. This should say back to expense menu, right? So if we call 1, right, the user matches case for 1 here, we're going to use our set name function and use our prompt of update user or update expense description. And then we have name. So this would be expense, quote, description is equal to the new description here, right? And then we would go ahead and call a clear terminal and then a a call back to edit expense with expense, like so. So if we run this now, yes, expenses, find edit, expense number 1, there it goes. Expense number 1 is pulled up. We're going to set, see my JSON, this is type int, this is type int. Okay, so then we'll go, description, edit expense description. So before, we're not gonna print in the edit, we're printing the expense where here. So we'll say for key value in how do I want to say this? Yeah, for key value in expense dot items, we might have to bring this out of the I think we can run a function inside of here, really. Hey, Ellis Dominguez, welcome in. How's it going? Welcome back. So for key value in the expense dot items, okay, we're not going to be able to do this, so we'll have to go. I want to display expense. Just on a new line there. But I want to just, I definitely want to display the expense, but I need to do a view clear terminal, create menu, set item number, set name, set expense number, set size, date created, set quantity, set ship method, set active status, my view. Hey, Baldamessi, welcome in. It's 7:17 for me right now. Welcome in. How's it going? We just started the stream up here. What are you guys studying right now? Ooh, gotta get the lava lamp on. What's going on? What you guys studying right now? I'm warming up with some work on my project here, the Small Business Manager in Python. We are working on it, just a basic business manager application that can, formulate inventory and expenses. And yeah, we've been working on this live on stream for the past, few weeks. We built it from scratch, from a blank file, right? So, follow along. Baldamessi, thanks so much for coming in here. Yes, we made this all live on stream here from scratch, teaching ourselves this. Dynamic 2D list. Oh, awesome. What kind of practice are you working on with that? That steel. So I'm gonna have a function here called display expense, and it's gonna take in some expense. Ooh, I need a def out front, right? Which is gonna be a class or a instance object. Oh, that does work. Okay, so can we say obj? No. That's some object. So we're gonna say, no, it's actually gonna be some dictionary, right? We'll say for key, or our key is our attribute, and or for label, sorry, whatever. Yeah, key, we'll say key value in our expense dot items. So we'll use the item function on this. We're going to print print the item or key, and then print the item. Or value, right? Like so. So a pretty simple function here. If expense not type if expense not equal to type dict, is that how you do it? Or the type dict like that? Raise value error. Saying expense not of type equal dict, right? So if I then go back up to my function here and then put in here my double backslashes again, here do display expense for expense here, and call this yes expenses find edit number 1. Oh no. So it caught my value error. It doesn't like my type. How to check if function param is a certain type. Is instance parameter type. So if instance parameter int, okay. We could say not, right? I guess we have to say not equal to. Let's try it. expense, find edit, number one. No. Hit me again with the value error. Um, I mean, we could say is not expense, find edit, number one. Oh, dang. If expense is not is instance of expense and dict. So we'll say if is not if not is instance of this, raise the value error. Like that. Come on. Let's go. Okay. So that fired me up right there. Yes, John, we got you. It's if not is instance, right? I had to get there. Just a couple of options. My English. I was trying to right. I just had to try all my negatives, my negative keywords. Not equal to, is not, not. I just had to cycle through them all. It's a true. Yeah, I forgot that this is instance returns a Boolean true, so that's why I had to use if not. Ah. Oh, we got a lot of people in here. Hello. Hello, everybody. Sorry, my energy's a little bit low today. I'm just a little bit tired, honestly. I was back at work today after Monday. Was up late last night. My own fault, like usual. Been staying up late because I don't know. I just been liking having a little bit of time to just pet my dog and my cat and watch some shows before bed. But anyways, I stayed up too late and now I'm paying the price for it. I'm tired, so I thought I'd warm up with a little bit of the project first, something we're familiar with, and then we can hop into maybe some Leet code practice after that, if we're feeling it. Matthew Litwiz, hello, welcome, awesome to hear from you. How you doing today? Balder Messi, are you going to try out for some other languages? Yeah, actually, if you're interested in seeing me, learn some other languages, currently I'm taking Harvard CS50X live on the channel, which introduces us to C, which we are currently learning right now. Not too in depth, but just on the side of our main Python. I'm mainly interested in continuing kind of like our Python. I am a physical scientist. For those that don't know, I am a chemist in my profession. I have a degree in human biology and a minor in chemistry. I work as a formulation chemist for a biotech company, and so I am interested in kind of like data analysis. I am it kind of does fascinate me and how to process data, and so algorithms and things like that, and all that jazz. Uh, yeah, so but in CS50X, we're learning C right now. We're then going to get some experience with JavaScript, obviously HTML and CSS. I think with SQL, and I'm kind of making whole, full stack applications. I think is the whole goal at the end of that class. So if you're interested in taking that class and course with me, it's completely free. I'm, providing a walkthrough, on my channel as I take it. So join me as I'm doing that. We're currently on week 2, so it's not too late. Yeah, the Legend 27. Thanks so much. Yep, for sure. Is instance returns true if expenses addict, otherwise false. Nice. Hey, Hysterical Mafia, welcome in. How's it going? How you doing today, John? Welcome in. Forgot to say hello. Wing Hong, welcome. What's going on, man? How you doing? How goes the studying for you? What are you guys working on? What are you guys practicing? Okay, so now we're getting this expense number. Display expense. Yes, inventory or expenses. Edit. 1. None. So why are we getting the the print statement happening before in this F string here. None. But it's calling it here. What's going on here? So obviously I'm getting a none for this call here. But it's still printing up here. What is going on? Anybody have any idea? Why would it be printing above? I'm going to call a title case here. So why are we getting, that just doesn't make any sense. Why are we getting none here? But it is printing above. Anybody have any ideas? This doesn't make any sense to me. So can I not call a function within? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go over to my expense class rather. And I'm going to call a def display expense. Takes in self. I'm just going to take this guy and put it in here rather, right? Self, self. Now what did I do over here? In my items class, in my stir representation. Okay, so that's what I did for here. Was I did it in my stir. So I might just do that rather, because I don't want to limit this to a dict only. I want to just call a stir, but this will only work on a stir representation. So I wonder, let me see here. Let's go to our expense class. Def dunder stir. Right, we'll take in self. We'll say return f string of amount How did I do this one? Number, name. I'm just gonna copy this. I know it's not the same, but I'll make it the same. F. Okay, so we had description, self.description. We had amount. Okay, and I'm gonna comment out the rest, and I'm gonna call a print what? Oh, no. Here. Like so, we'll comment that, and then back in my main, when we print here now, let's just see what happens. Will this dict get represented with that dunderster method? Expense, find edit 1. No. But that fixed that format. So why is it that I call display expense here? Do I get this weird formatting of none? Oh, because it's trying to title case this, I think. And it can't. No. Hmm. Why am I getting none here? I'm titling the key. But it's doing the display. Okay, so then I guess what I'm gonna have to do is I'll change this to the dunder dict method. And then we'll go like this. Amount. Wrap. Let's go back. Let me wrap this. There we go. That'll be easier. Amount. Okay, and then instead of size, we're gonna have the amount date. So I'm gonna make the amount come first. We'll have the date come next. We'll have the description come next. We'll have category. Right, which will be not a dollar sign. Dot cat. Instead of date created, it's going to be method. Self dot method. Active. So we need note and number. Number, and then we'll copy this here. Oh, sorry, this should say note. This should say number and self number, like such. Okay, so now if I call print on just the dict alone without the actual display needed here, right, like so, let's see what happens. Yes. Expenses, find edit expense, number 1. This is prints. So maybe I'll return get details, which will call this function here. So let's call the expense dot get details on the expense. Expenses, find edit, number 1. The method in Python is not a method, but an attribute. It's built in Python. How can I modify the printing behavior of a dictionary? To modify how a dictionary is printed, you can either customize its output globally by subclassing the dictionary class or locally overriding its printing behavior with the stir or repr. Okay, I thought I did that before with the stir and it didn't work. So if I called under stir here, I call a print on just the expense, doesn't work. What's going on my create menu function? Oh, no, look at my option. My prompt, stir. It'll print prompt, and then my options. So why is my options Don't you already have an expense class? Yes, I do have an expense class. So I have a under stir, which will represent, but I'm in a dictionary form. Sorry, lots of chats. The function is not returning anything. It's like if you build a string and return that string, it will show it. The function is not returning nothing. If you like build a string and return that string, it will show. Hey Tim, how's it going? Yeah, we solved the two sum yesterday. My brain is a little bit slow today to tackle some Leet code. I'm tired after work, so I at least wanted to get some work on my project done, something familiar here. So, so I have to take in a, hmm. Hey AM Speedwagon, how's it going? How long have you been learning? Yeah, I've been teaching myself for about 7 months. Um, SS Low, are you trying to use the stir method to get a dict or something? No, so I have an expense class, right? And right now it currently gets formatted in a JSON, right? And so when we pull those items back in to our system, in my load, what's happening? My load JSON, we're opening that, loading with JSON, returning loaded expenses, which is a dictionary. So I'm going to go here actually also, and we run main function, or we run main menu here. I'm going to go call a print all expenses here. I want to see what it looks like. Let's go back to main menu, and I'm gonna run here. Yes. Okay, that got cleared out too fast. Like so. Yes. Okay, so that's giving me a dictionary where the key is the item number in a stir form, and the value is a dictionary of the object. Okay, that's helpful. Um, hey EK Lab, how's it going? Yeah, I've been teaching myself for about 7 months. For the first 3 or 4 months, it was very, very casual. I was completing Harvard CS50P part time. I started back in the beginning of June of last year, 2024. I completed Harvard CS50P very, very part time over the summer, about 2, 3 days a week, only a couple hours a week. And then when I completed my final project at the end of the summer, I created this channel and I was like, wow, I really actually enjoyed that process and I want to do more. And so since September, I've been slowly ramping up my learning, And then we've been doing everyday sessions since about Thanksgiving back in 2024. So we've been doing everyday sessions for about a month and a half now, 2 months, and so we've come quite a far way in our progress here. Did you take biochem in college for your degree? Yeah, I had to take some biochem classes. What resources help you the most in learning what you need to know to build this project? For this project specifically, I will say that my the biggest help in terms of practice. Now, so all I had to really, in order to build this project, there's nothing going on under the hood of this project that isn't just basic Python functions. So I'm using just basic input functions. I'm using, um, you know, integer func conversion. I'm just using basic Python functions, but I'm using a lot of them and my tool belt to make this project. So it is just basic Python functions, print statements, inputs, but I'm creatively using them adapted with an idea of a small business manager that takes in items, converts those items into for sale items, converts those items into sold items, and then also can create expenses now, log those, maybe compare the two data points and provide, revenue and income statements is my goal. And so we have the items functionality already interworked, and now we're getting the expenses worked out right now. And then we'll provide the report page next. I also want to do like a settings menu where the user can provide a list of or their individual parameters they want to associate with the method of use for the expenses, like for a credit card, or they can add in all their different methods for charging expenses that they would do to like log them, and then they can also manually add their what else would it be for their expenses, their categories, right? So like food and drink, or whatever categories are specific to that business, they can add it in the settings menu. So so I've just been I will say I'm a kind of a, I guess, a creative person. I've been able to kind of think of things like on the fly and think of projects. So I'm sorry, my to answer your question, I've been rambling on, but the main, I'd say, avenue of studying to get to this point is honestly to do things like this. Now, it doesn't have to be on this scale, right? Where I'm having multiple classes, I'm having multiple file savings happen. I got to this point because I slowly built up from a smaller and smaller iteration of something similar to this. My Harvard CS50P was a basic inventory system. This has an inventory system that I've kind of also carried over. I've optimized it and I've kind of carried it over into this project. My next project was an object-oriented task tracker application. I have a video demo on my channel. I also have that code live on my GitHub so you can read it for yourself, and it's completely open to you guys. And I also built it live on stream with you guys a few months ago. And so we built the task tracker app, which stepped up the inventory system one notch, right? It included an inventory system again, right? That didn't go away, but now I added file reading and writing, and I also used date time, so where I can manage, calendar dates to track these tasks over time, and then use the file saving to actually update these according to when the user, opened the program in the future. So it's really cool, and it dynamically, accounts for all of those edge cases and things for a user opening it on the same day, or 2 days in the future, or 10 days, and has expired tasks get displayed to you and everything. So that was a level up, and now we're going one step further, and using date time as well in this one, but also kind of creating more customized classes, and really accounting for a lot of user interaction here, to create kind of more of an entire module for managing like an entire business, from under the hood almost. So that's kind of the goal here. So now, nothing, like I said, nothing is too crazy, right? It might look kind of weird over here, right? It might say, oh, you kind of like a cool formatting going on. Well, that's just because like I've just been using the basic Python functionality kind of creatively. I've been, using the prints and the F statements and F strings and stuff to kind of create this menu effect within the client without having to create a GUI. Now, we did go down the avenue one day of just kind of testing the waters and trying to make a GUI. So we have a little bit of a template starter here that we kind of mess around with for about an hour and a half. and got a couple of tabs here and some scroll bars and an inventory kind of grid system set up here. So we had something kind of in the works for our 2.0 version, but for our 1.0 version, just working in the CLI environment, this is kind of cool. So it might seem daunting. My all in all in this ramble is this might seem kind of daunting, but I'm a beginner in this. I'm really doing nothing that a beginner wouldn't be doing. Um, I mean, give or take with my practice, right? Wouldn't be doing with the tools at their disposal is what I'm trying to say. Is everything I'm using here is, um, you know, once you learn classes in CS50P, all of this was taught in CS50P. Also is taught in the Python crash course. I highly recommend on my channel those are learning Python to do CS50P and read Python crash course. I have a copy of this in my Discord link below, which is just a conglomeration of all of my study resources we do live on the stream here. I've been, documenting my entire learning progress from scratch to where I haven't seen any code to this point now. So it's been quite the 6 months journey, and I appreciate you guys joining me. Sorry for that ramble, but um, the honest answer to your question, Hassan, was practicing projects like this, but just on a smaller scale, and just trusting the process. Yeah, I wanted to build elaborate stuff right away. Yeah, I wanted to build cool things, really, really cool things right away. But I had to first build really cool small things at first, and then level up, level up, level up. And now we're having our, third project here that's, quite elaborate. It's taken us some more time here. So yeah, hopefully that answered. SS Low says maybe you can add a constructor to the expense class that accepts the JSON dict and then populates the class attribute from it. Yeah, that's what we were suggested before, and I was considering as well, and I still am. I just when I was handling the conversion of or the accessing of these various attributes, I was having to use dictionary notation within my um, expense class or expense menu here. So I was having to use this dictionary notation to access the description and override it and stuff rather than just, class method, instance method notation using dots. So that's kind of what was tripping me up earlier. But now we're getting tripped up to where the actual expense class, you know, is not being represented appropriately when I call a print on it. So when I call in my main program here, let me move out of this. When I call this expense print right here inside of this f string, right? I don't get it. Find edit number one. See, we're not getting it. Our repr is not working, or our stir. So I have this display expenses here. But when I use this function, I get some weird output for some reason. I don't get it. So I'll put it right here, watch. Display expense, right? I run this, 3, find edit, number 1. See, now I get this printing happening of this expense above my f string, and then I get a none value here. So I thought it had to be going on in my create menu function with if the options. So the options are a list. We're going to print the prompt. I think the HTML and CSS would help with the GUI. Yeah, definitely. I was not having that much fun using the decanter, to be honest. So I'm looking forward to getting more practice with the HTML and CSS in CS50X. So we can kind of maybe use that for our GUI, maybe, would be cool. Farzad Mohammadi, welcome. I appreciate you coming in. Do you know any other programming language? No, not too well. I'm mainly focusing on Python. Really quickly, my philosophy behind this is that I feel that in the current computer science environment for learning and education, a lot of CS majors and also just independent learners are trying to gather languages as like Pokemon or badges in a gym and really not truly learning the ins and outs of the language as a whole. So I'm wanting to kind of gain a mastery in one solid language before I kind of really branch out and try to effectively program in others. But I'm not opposed to learning little nuances in like in CS50X of those other languages. Um, so but my philosophy is I want to get a really good foundation in one before I move out because I don't want to spread myself out thin. You do some backend dev in CS50X using Python. It'll be fun. Oh, awesome. I actually made a Python app with the HTML, CSS front end GUI and using Flask for the logic in the background. Oh, interesting. Yeah, I'm super excited to get into that part. So if you're wanting to, right now we're on week two, just finished up week one on Saturday. So if you're wanting to continue on with me in CS50X, make sure to follow along to the channel here. We're moving quite quickly. So anyone know why this is not working? Why are we... See, what happens if I just call, actually... Because this is going to create the menu on top. And I want... Oh, did we hit 900? Thank you guys so much. If we're close to 900, I appreciate you guys so much for following me here. We're 100 away from 1,000. My goal, I really would like to get kind of an open source project going for 1,000, and something that we can maybe work on. We had a suggestion, maybe doing like an open source chemical equation balancer, something I am familiar with with my chemistry background. Something that would be cool. So if you guys have suggestions for an open source project that we can all work on and do over GitHub together, that let me know. Or maybe we could do like a kind of a hackathon where we all try to, you know, come up with some sort of program within a certain a lot of time, and then we show them off together, and see who got the furthest in that amount of time or something. It might be cool. Like we each get 2 hours. Everybody starts the timer right now to program from scratch a basic game or whatever program, and we all share it off. Would be kind of cool. Solak and I am not good at chess. I suck at chess, let me tell you. I am not good. I don't know why we're getting none here. Oh, so why are we getting none? The create menu is printing the prompt, and we're also calling a print here. A print within a print. I'm going to take this. I'm going to go like this. This F string is printing strange. The display expense is outputting above the start. The issue experienced because the display expense is likely producing a multi-line string. You include it inside the F string, and output is printed before the rest of the F string due to how Python handles the multi-line context. Oh, I didn't know that. Here's an explanation and a fix. Why this happens. When Python processes an F string, any function calls or representation expressions embedded inside are evaluated before the rest of the string is formatted. If display expense returns a string with multiple lines, those lines are inserted inline but can look disconnected, especially in logs or when debugging. To ensure the entire string is well formatted, restore the result of display expenses in a variable first, then build your f string. Ah, okay. Um, okay, so we'll go up here. We'll put the expense back in here, or we'll put the temp expense here, and then we'll put it here. Like that. So now if we run and go, yes, expenses, find edit number 1. No! So this is, I think it's because this is printing. So I need to return so let me go like this. String is equal to f, like so. We'll take this, f like this, and a value, and then we'll add this on to string, like so. And then at the end of this loop, we're going to return the string. So now, let's see how that works. Temp expense, display expense, returns a string. Oh, plus equal, yeah, you're right. We have to reset the string. Come on, guys. Let's go. Thank you, Magnet. Thank you, Magnet. Woo! We cooking now. We cooking now. Let's go. Okay. So now we have that being displayed appropriately. It's because we were calling a print. Right. I think we're calling a print within a print, so it didn't like that. And so now we're getting the appropriate bounds here. And so I'm going to, it's going to return a value of \n. So I need to remove one \n here. Go here, yes, expenses, find edit, number 1. No, I need to keep the \n to get the spacing, but I don't want 2 spacings right here. So where are these spacings coming from? In my create menu, I'm calling a prompt and that. So if my prompt is getting a \n, expenses, find edit, number 1. How can I get rid of the second line? Where is that coming from? I don't want to remove it from here because I think I need it. I got to remove it from my display because it's getting one more on the last one. That's the thing. Okay, so I have to remove it here in order to keep that functionality. So prompt gets removed there. I don't want to remove it from there though. So we'll say if at this point length of expense keys or dot keys is equal to 1, right? We're going to hold up. Is equal to 1, meaning that there's one value left in this check, in this I guess rather than doing an if condition, we'll say rather than doing that, let's say while the length of the expense dot keys is greater than 1, right? Do this return statement, or do this loop. Oop. And then let's say on the break, while on this one, right, string plus equal no, we'll have to do the condition because we need to do it inside of this loop to gain access to the key and the value. So we'll say if length of the expense dot keys is equal to 1, we're going to do string greater than 1. We'll do this. Right. Oh yeah, SS Low says maybe put this at the beginning. Okay, so rather than trying to check if there's one single value left in this, but we're not popping the title either, so I don't think that this evaluation would change. So let's take this back. To here, and let's move, like SS said, this to the front and see what kind of reformatting we would have to do to this here. So we run this, yes. Expenses, find edit number 1. Okay, so now we get a double here, which we just need to remove 1 here. Thank you, that's perfect. Why don't I should have thought of that. I'm jealous. Thank you so much, Lo. Appreciate you, RL. All right, expenses, find edit number 1, and boom. Okay, so now that's perfectly formatted. Cool. Now the thing is that's cool is because we have this while loop that will call the edit expense function back on itself, right, with the expense again, is we can kind of mimic a live update feature with these edits to this expense, right? So the whole point of this is, let's say the user has loaded the expense into their, as an instance, an object using object-oriented programming. It's created an expense. You're going through this prompts, right? So hold on, let me show you guys. Let's go from start to finish here, actually. So let me go, let me load up my expenses JSON here, and I'll remove this, and let's go, yes, here. Let's go expenses, right? I'll go add expense with number 1 here, boom. Let me zoom in, right? Use today's date. So if I press 1, we'll use the date time module to automatically acquire the current date today as the day, inferring that today was the day the expense was purchased or made. Or else we can say no here. We'll say no for this example to show, right? And we have to enter a date in this format. If we don't, we get an error. So let's say I enter into let's say we bought this back on Halloween, 10/31. Well, this is not in the right format, so we'll get kicked back with an error. Invalid date input, required date format, year, month, day. Okay, so we'll go ahead and give it again, 2024-10-31. Okay, that went through. Let's go with the amount of this expense. Let's say we bought something for $30, right? You just provide the integer. That's it. If I were to, I have the option of also providing $30, and let's say it was 45 cents. This will, why is it doing that? This will break down the actual decimal place using the split function. I can show you guys this function if you want, and it will convert these left and right of the split to integers and divide this integer by 100 to capture that cents, and then combine them for the total amount of cents of 3,045 cents, or sorry, multiply this by 100. Divide, whatever. Sorry, been a long day. So one way by 100, and combine these together. Basically, the shorthand for calculating the amount of cents in dollars, in US dollars, and whole dollars and cents is to just remove the decimal and concatenate the two together. That's kind of the hack I found out, is that you can remove the decimal point and just bring this two together, and the amount of total cents is 3,045 cents. So why we're doing that is that we have learned that floats have various rounding properties on different operating systems, different general hardwares, on different unpredictable things with floats, memory. So we're converting everything to whole integers to be able to capture and manage currency that way. So I give this expense here of 30.45. I can give a description here. Let's say that this was a company lunch, right? Category. This was this came out of the petty cash, right? That's kind of typically what people pull their lunch out of, is the petty cash fund and stuff. So my goal here is to provide hard-coded methods that the user can actually update in the settings menu. So they can provide a set of categories and methods that are pre-aligned with their purchasing and expenses. So that's going to be our goal for a future stream. And then the method here, this would be like credit card, right? Notes. This would be like someone or Mike's. We'll do some from the chat. We'll say SS low RL birthday lunch, right? And boom, that got populated right into our file. Woo! So like it's super cool. So I'll show you guys how this is made really quick, so you guys can see if you guys weren't here when we wrote this. So in my add expense, so I have like the whole format of this is I'm using functions and that kind of menu system, that menu printing, to mimic kind of a GUI and hop from screen to screen. And I have a clear terminal function that I wrote that wipes the data off the terminal starting fresh, but also doesn't delete all of our information, just wipes the terminal. So I can kind of create this hopping from menu to menu effect within the CLI here. And I'm just going basically function to function and creating menus inside of each function. How'd you learn this fast? I just been practicing, honestly. That's the honest truth of it all is, and I have the stream to back it up here, is that I have been putting in about 2 hours to 2.5 hours of practice coding, reading out of textbooks like data structures and algorithms in Python. We're on page 325 that we've been reading slowly live on stream, doing the practice problems at the end of the chapters. So we've done up to this point, we've completed up to like 100 practice problems from the end of chapters 1 through 7. Um, and then I use that learning that we're doing in the beginning of our streams, typically to solidify concepts into our actual projects. And so I have just been kind of coding can't be attributed to the amount of time you put in, because it does have some sort of correlation with effort as well, and with a little bit of just abilities and IQ, intelligence, and but that obviously is a smaller factor. It's mainly passion, drive, time spent, and effort put in, right? So and then with a little bit of the others that I mentioned. And so I would just say that I know I'm rambling, but I've spent a good 2 hours, 2.5 hours every day coding, learning about it, thinking about it, talking about it. So it's been a good 6, 7, good, I've been started 7 months ago, but really I've been kind of going harder. Pause. But I've been going more intensely in my studying for the past, 3 or 4. Hey Moet, welcome in. It's awesome to hear from you. Gosh, you guys were chatting. I missed some so much chats. I'm sorry, guys. I'm really apologize for missing the chats above. Yeah, the hackathon would be nice. Yeah, I think that would be a cool idea, right? Farzad, did you go to college? Yeah, I graduated back in 2021 with a degree in human biology and a minor in chemistry. I graduated from Utah State University. Um, I did not grow up there. I was out of state. Um, but I came there. I had some family connection. My some family went there, so with some scholarships and stuff. It was a good environment. I liked the outdoorsy aspect of it. It was a cool school. And then I am out here in the California. I got a job right out of school about a month after I graduated, um, as a formulation chemist in the Bay Area here, California. So I work as a chemist for a biotech company right now for the past, since 2021, 2022. So 3 years now. 313, how do you learn all this Python stuff? Practice and reading the books. Yeah, so if you're wanting to follow my a similar pathway to me, and you're liking what you see on the stream, and you want to maybe create something similar and follow a similar roadmap to my learning, I've created a Discord down linked below, where I provide all of the resources that I used to get to this point. So I read, did Harvard CS50P. I solidified those concepts with Python Crash Course. Yes, it was repetitive at times, but I pushed through it, and I practiced those easy concepts over and over and over again. Even though I knew them, I did those practice problems. I did them, and now it's kind of more of like a second nature. So I'm able to go faster and kind of write fluently now up to my current abilities. Now I'm still fairly getting the hang of things, but we're getting better. Yeah, so I have all my resources in the Discord linked below. And I have free PDF copies of the books I'm reading, DSA and Python, as you saw on the screen, Python Crash Course, Fluent Python, all that stuff. I'm going to be using Pygame to make a game at the hackathon. Oh, awesome, Dat Steel. Yeah, I don't know how to use Pygame. I'll probably need your help if we get to try to that. I'm bad too, but my engine is 1600. 1600, like oh, and like in chess score, Solakin. Yeah, my chess score is terrible. I just like I have like tunnel vision. I get zoned in on like one portion of the board or a couple of pieces, and I get backdoored every single time by somebody. um, are these global functions or class methods? It may be better to have a display method as part of the expense class. Yeah, so that's what I tried earlier as well, is to have the display expense here as well. So we have the display happening here, which actually does a print. But this one in my main call does a return of the concatenated string. Um, display expense formatted, right? Maybe that would be a better way of displaying that. So in our edit expense here, display expense formatted. Yeah, I like that. Thank you so much for that, Lo. Appreciate you. Um, or I guess you could try to fix the Dunner methods too, yeah. Jeremy says machine learning textbook math jargon has been insane. Yeah, I am not looking forward to. Well, I'm excited about it, but we have Python machine learning that we're going to get into eventually. And let me tell you, after browsing a few of these pages, I don't know if you guys can see that. Yeah, not looking too hot. Let me tell you, like who comes up with this stuff? Like it's just nuts, dude. People are crazy. Like all this stuff, false positive rates. Like what? Decision tree regression. It's like who comes up with this? Who? It ain't me. Oh, people are crazy. People are nuts. Um, What are books to learn Python completely? Ray313, yeah, I would definitely use Python CS50P or Harvard CS50P alongside Python Crash Course. Read and study that course together, and you'll come out on the other end with a pretty good understanding of the basics of Python, in my opinion. Davidge says, and this is after your job, mad respect. Yeah, I do this every day after my job. Today, I'm gonna be honest, was a little bit hard to come on. I was sitting here with my hand, and I was, oh. Ooh, okay, let's start it up. But I'm just a little bit tired today, but I feel better after we got some work done on our I definitely got more pep in my step after we got some work done on our project here. Um, we were able to really get some progress going here, which is quite nice. So yes, expenses, right? We can find edit, and if we press 3, an expense that doesn't exist in our expenses file, right? Doesn't exist. If we go ABC, right, this could not be successfully converted to an integer, so we have that edge case. And so now if we give it the appropriate 1, it pulls up this expense. And now look what we can do, guys. If we say expense description here, update the description, right, from company lunch to, let's say, new description test. Boom, that mimics like a live update within this while loop because we're just like recursively kind of calling this function, not really recursively, but just within itself, whatever, blah, 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 blah. But, and so this loop will kind of display this live, update feature. So what I want to do though is I want to have these be, edited in the same order. So this would be edit amount. This would be Um, this would be expense date. This would be expense description. This would be the category, the method, the note, and then, okay, and then, yeah. The number is not editable. That's right. Cool. And then back to the expense menu. So then when we call, this would be case, rather for editing the description would be 3. So then let's quickly just jot up the additional cases we need. So case quote 1 would be, we're going to get a new expense amount is equal to set cost. We have this function that we wrote already. The cost is going to equal, so in my set cost, I think I have an expense already set for this. In my type, No, it just returns that cost. So no crazy, no specific things. So we have the set cost function we'll call that will return the new cost as that expense variable. We will then set the expense amount, right, is going to be equal to the new expense amount, right? I mean, I could call this directly on the set cost return, but I want it to be kind of a little bit more clear. It's fine. It's just a couple lines. We'll clear here, right? And then we'll call the edit expense again for the expense. So what's cool is, right, in these 4 lines of code, I just wrote in literally a minute and a half or 2 minutes, right? We just did this. We just added this first case just now, right? But because I have these functions already set up, um, right, of the edit expense, of the set cost, I can really kind of move quite quickly once I already have the formatting and I'm just reusing all these old functions again. And so all I really need to do is just kind of set up the backbone for the structure using the match casing, and then my create menu creates this menu. My set cost, does that prompting for a new cost and does all that splitting and everything of that on the decimal point if needed. And so it's really, cool that we've kind of factored in all of these reusable elements um, over and over again. So if we go ahead and run this now, right? Just in those 2 minutes, I've added a feature now for in the the find edit, right, for the expense number one. Pardon me. And now I can press number 1 here. Okay, now I'm just trolling. So we need a cost type actually. So that's what I was looking for earlier. Cost type is equal to, so we do have a special parameter that I guess I missed. So cost type equal to stir. Oh, cost type is just my representation for what the prompt should be basically. So because I wanted this to be dynamic to ask for any sort of cost, or dollar amount, I can reuse this function with a given cost type prompt of how about item cost. So that will automatically dynamically insert item cost when asking for the user. Now watch, you'll see I can put cost type um, expense new or updated expense amount, right? Just like that. And so that string will get inserted in as kind of like the prompt for this set cost. So I go expenses, find edit number 1. If I go update expense amount here, um, right, we get update expense amount just like that. That's exactly the prompt I just wrote, right? Update expense amount. So I'll say my expense amount is going to be, rather than this got right, it got converted from dollars to whole cents. So 3,045. I'll say, okay, let's say this was actually $45.21. Now watch right here, guys. Watch right here really closely. I'll zoom in. I'm saying this is going to cost $45.21 now. And so watch right here on this amount once I press enter. Oh, it's so cool. It's so satisfying. All right. Nice. So, all right, that looks good to me. So now what happens, you guys watch this, is if I press 7 or go back to my expense menu here, so we need to add that case here. So let's just add this case of quote 7, right? We're going to just call the clear menu, the clear terminal, and then go expense menu. but I want to do a saving of this expense, right? So when we go to our expense menu, um, this goes to main menu. When we add an expense, that's when we do the save as well. We do a save file here called on expenses JSON. So I'm going to take this save file that we have and we're going to put it right here as well. So when we do this update, we'll make sure to save on this update of this expense so we don't lose it just in case we corrupt in between the time that we actually, you know, exit between we update the expense and exit out of the program, right? Just in case if the computer dies or whatever, it just updates as soon as they exit out of this update menu, right? This is a live updating until you exit out, and once you exit out with 7, then you go ahead and save. So let's go ahead and run this now. Yes, expenses, find edit expense number 1. That brings this up. Let's go ahead and put in the amount to $45.31. Boom, that got updated just like that. And then I'll bring this up so you guys can see, right? This is still the old amount because it doesn't save until we press 7. Once we press 7 and enter, boom, saved. Awesome. Really cool. Got some chats here. SS Low says, for real, I'm lifeless after work. Yeah, dude, me too sometimes. I feel you. But, you know, I try to have the perspective, you know, that I can just sit here in my desk in the comfort of my room, in the room, and just I can at least stream and work on this. It's not too hard at the end of the day. It's just a little bit of effort and yeah. But I know I feel you on that. Hey, Yadnesh, I appreciate you coming in. Are you learning Python for AI? Yeah, eventually we have a Python for machine learning book that we're going to dive into soon. I keep saying that, but we got a lot of projects that we're currently working on right now, so I don't want to get into too many things at once. So we're gonna get some stuff checked off, and then we'll dive into that book soon enough. But yeah, we can definitely learn to get into some AI stuff. I think it's also going to be crucial for the current environment, right? You got to know that kind of stuff, I bet. That pause has to be a shorts clip. Which pause are you referring to? I have all of my. I usually chop up my reactions when because I have these funny reactions. I guess when get excited about my program work, and I put those as shorts. Humor Haven, bro, legit a month ago you were at 200 something subs. When I stopped in, the growth is insane. I know, right? Humor Haven, it's crazy. It's honestly all attributed up to you guys. Yes, I coming in here and streaming. It's not sitting down at my desk. It's not that really that hard. It does take a little bit of effort, but you guys truly, choosing to spend your time hanging out with me is what really, continues this on. And I really, from the bottom of my heart, I'm just a normal guy out here. I don't really have that many connections. I don't really hang out with a lot of people. Just my girlfriend when she comes every, half the week because she works in a different city a little ways away. And so I don't really do too much, and so I really really enjoy hanging out with you guys and learning this. This is like my main hobby at the moment, and it's really awesome that we're getting some success out of it and really seeing some improvement in not only our programming but also the channel. The whole channel was just a byproduct of just kind of documenting this mainly for myself to go back and reference. But then all of a sudden people started popping in and I started kind of making some friends and talking to you guys, and I created the Discord, and we had a lot of I have over like 200, almost 250 people in the Discord alone that are using the resources and interacting, and it's really quite amazing. You guys are awesome. So this is all you guys. Trust me, I really appreciate you guys. You should hear me. I talk about you guys to my girlfriend all the time. I'll be like, "Oh, you should have seen what Wing Hong said today in the chat, or SS Low, or whatever." You guys are making a mark here on me, so I appreciate you guys truly. All right, so now we need to add in these additional features, right? So we go to the expenses menu, find edit number one. We need to add in case number two here. Now, I in my past projects, I was using the just if else chains for all of these, but I started to use the match case. I was suggested it. It's pretty nice for kind of like just easily formatting things and not getting too heavy with if else statements. But is there any actual like, speed benefit? Does anyone know to using match case versus if else chains? Like, is there any besides just general formatting and user friendliness? Is there any other benefits? I really would like to know. What do you guys think? Okay, so number two is going to be the new expense, or maybe I kind of want to say the expense new. Um, this is going to be, if they press 2, is going to be date, right? Which is going to be equal to new, whatever, we'll just say expense date is equal to set date created here for a type equals quote for our date created function. Let's see what our prompt is. I wrote these so long ago now that it's a couple weeks back that I can no longer really remember exactly every in and out of them. Okay, so there is no type. It's just a straight add. Okay, just a straight call to the function. Like that, we will go ahead and go expense date is equal to the new expense date. We'll clear the terminal here, and we'll call edit expense, right, on the expense provided. Cool, so that's that case. Now let's go ahead and match case for quote 4, which is going to be expense category. So new expense category is going to equal to right, so this is where we need this is where we're going to have to actually get some new formalities here. So I'm going to just pass here for right now, and I'm just going to I'll just call pass edits need edits, and then we'll call here just quickly the clear terminal, and then the edit expense on the expense, right? So we just loop back. I also will do this for case 5. Oops. Right? Because I want to, like I said, add in the ability for the user to preemptively set or hard code in themselves dynamically a set of categories and methods, right? I want those to be user dependent. David says, is your DSA good too? I'm trying to get better at it. We are currently, that's funny that you asked, we are currently reading data structures and algorithms in Python live. We've been reading the entire book live on stream, word for word, example by example. So we're on page 325 right now. We've got a lot of, we first started off with, time complexity notation and space complexity, dealing with big O, big omega, and big theta, understanding the ins and outs of worst case, best case, and uh, whatever theta means. I'm not sure, can't remember exactly. And then we got practice with actually defining time constants or time constraints of functions. We were introduced to the 7 types of functions for determining time, relatively to what we are currently talking about, from constant to logarithmic to linear to n log n to exponential to quadratic to cubic. Yeah, so we got quite a good foothold of those. We then moved on to what was after that? Recursion? I think recursion was after that in chapter four. In chapter five, we jumped into other data structures such as stacks, decks, and queues. We learned about double-ended queues, or right, and then we learned about and then we jumped into array-based sequencing, learning about arrays and how they handle hardware, how they differ from lists in Python, and then we are jumping into actual like trees now and stuff. So um, we've done a lot of practice, we've gotten a lot of examples, and now we're kind of jumping also onto the channel into practicing some Leet code to help solidify these concepts to some more real-world like applications and questions and stuff. So yes, we are currently reading this. We're on page 325 currently. And so my goal is to get through this book, within the next, I'd say, month or two. I mean, it's just a long book. It's just dense. It's got a lot of examples, and so it has been taking us a few weeks to almost months now to get through it. But it is critical for knowing current computer science topics and for applying them to Python. So if this is something you're interested in seeing, I have a copy of this PDF provided in my Discord, which is just a resource center for all of my stream resources and studying, and everybody else's as well if they would provide it too. So yeah, we read this live on the stream. Today I was just a little bit tired. I was not trying to do anything too brain power, but like I said, I'm doing this after my 9 to 5, so I want to just work on my project and kind of chill. Okay. So that's with 5, and then in case 6, right? All we're going to do is say new expense note is going to be equal just to the user input, right? So we're just going to say new updated expense note. Right, like so. So that'll return the note there. We're going to then assign it with just we'll clear the terminal here. We'll assign this new expense to the expense itself. Not note. Newt. Any Canadians in here? Canadians. Expense newt. And then we'll assign this to the new expense note, right? We'll clear the terminal and call the edit expense on the expense, right? Like that. All right, let's go ahead and give this a whirl. Yes, expenses, find edit, expense number. Hold on, let's actually go back and let's go ahead and add a few more expenses here just to help show some stuff. Yes, expenses, add expense, today's date, yes. Expense amount, let's say this cost us $10. Description of this expense, we'll say was gas, right? Transportation. Category, transportation. Expense method, we'll say this was on the credit card as well, right? Note, gas to gas for company car, right? And then, okay, that got updated right there. As you can see, the $10 got converted to 10,000 cents in USD. We can go to edit expense, right? If I provide expense 3, right? Error not found, there is no expense. If I go expense -1, error -1 not found. If I go ABC, error ABC not convertible to type int for integer. And so then we'll go expense number 2. Boom, that pulls up expense number 2. So as you can see, that saving happened, so we can then actually pull that expense up in the current iteration of the program. So that's what's crucial about that saving. We have it uniquely saving at certain points. So now we can edit the amount to, let's say this costs us $50 actually of gas, expensive gas. Let's go ahead and say the date for this was no, this was yesterday actually, 2025 dash 01 dash 12. Okay, let's say that the description was not for transportation, but was for, instead of gas, let's say the gas was for the barbecue. Gas for, or description, gas for barbecue. Boom. Category. Oh, shoot. So that was the description. Sorry. Category is going to be not transportation. So category, we have this pass happening, right? As we wrote in before. Because I want the user to be able to provide a set of categories and methods on their own in the settings menu. So we have to implement that. And the same with goes with the method, right? So then if we press 6 here for the note, we'll get a user input and say company barbecue fun times. like I put right there. And so now if we go back to expense menu, that should have saved that, which it did. Cool. So like really quickly, right, we were able to just kind of put in these cases, reuse these functions, and get all of that functionality really, really fast. So it's really cool. Wing Hong says, the hardest part is being consistent every night. Yeah, definitely. That is pretty tough. I know switch statements can be faster / more efficient in C/C++. They work great with enums. Those are also cool. It's like a set of possible values all stored in one byte. By the way, you can store the items as an array in the JSON instead of using their numbers as a key, unless you're doing that on purpose. Oh, okay, you can store. So interesting. Does that do anything with speed? The whole point of me using the dictionary was kind of having that hash map effect to kind of be able to instantly access these elements in constant time just by their pointer, right? So that's how I at least handled the items themselves. I was putting them with the CSV module, which I probably will convert over to JSON actually, but at some point. But I originally implemented it with the CSV module, and I was using the dictionary to be able to access those keys quickly based on the item number. So does the array impact the time for access? Because they might have, upwards of thousands or of items in their inventory or expenses and stuff like that. So what do you think about that, Lo? RL. Appreciate your comment though. Thank you so much for coming in and talking with me. Can you take me higher? That's what we need right now. We need some Creed. Can you take me higher? Or like, what else is Creed? Hold me now. I'm 6 feet from the edge and I'm thinking. That's Creed too, right? Okay, so a lot of good progress taken care of on our expenses so far. So we obviously need to add into the settings menu an option for the actual updating of the set for the categories. Levi, how's it going? Welcome in. How are you doing? Hopefully you didn't just join as we were getting down to some Creed there. That would have been quite the entrance or your first impression here. But that is what it is. It's the authentic self here. Thank you guys so much for joining me here. If you're interested, you can join my Discord link below. And yeah, appreciate you guys. So we're building this project. So in our settings, I recently realized I ironically like Creed so much it became unironically. Yeah, dude, Creed is good. People have been hating on Creed for so long, but they've been, true bands that are good get, thrown up in memes like Creed, Smash Mouth. Those are all good bands. They just, or like, what else? Coldplay. I mean, but yeah, those are good bands for sure. Can you take me higher? Come on, tell me you don't get fired up just listening to that. All right, so what is our next tackle here? So in our settings menu, so we have main menu. I'm going to say expense settings, right? So case 2 will be this guy. Case 1 will be create menu. Our prompt is going to be expenses settings. And our list of options are going to be add expense category, right? This should be all lowercase though. And then we're going to have another option of add expense method. Expense settings. Nickelback is still an L though, taking a break from doing SSH and RDP protocols and virtual machines. Levi, you crack me up, bro. You're you go give me a sentence about how Nickelback's an L, and then you say I'm taking a break from SSH and RDP protocols on virtual machines. It's like two completely random sentences back to back. Hey, Gina. Hello. How you doing? How was work? um, so we have add expense category, add expense method, expense settings, right? I'm good, Miss Gina. Um, what show are you watching tonight? What show are you watching? Okay, add expense method. So this will create those. We then need to assign this to a user input on this local level, right? We're going to match user input here with a case of 1. So then we'll have to do another one. Right, like that. So a case of 1. I just helped in on like no sleep. My bad. No, no, you're all good. I thought it was just funny. I thought it was just funny. That's all good. Apparently, hash table lookup is slightly slower than indexing into an array, but I imagine the difference is negligible unless you have massive data. Yeah, exactly, SS low. So that was our point. Is that my original? So if you go, if you actually, if you have any interest in um, my task tracker application that we wrote, I was managing all of the tasks in an array. And so as we learned about DSA, it just becomes more optimal for large data inputs to use a hash map compared to an array um, for that lookup. So that's why at least we were, doing a lookup. Yes, at the small level of input, the array is pretty quick. But when we are having mass amounts of input, like the business could have thousands or tens of thousands of inventory items, right? So we have to be able to access those pretty quickly. Same with expenses. Over time, they could generate hundreds and hundreds of expenses. So that was the whole point of the hash table. Both are generally O of one. Yeah, probably at that small data input. Query ChatGPT and ask it, say, but what about for large data inputs, for large N? Case one at this point. So this is going to be case one at this point. Um, expense settings. Add expense category. So we'll go print expense. So the only thing though is I have to save these somehow. That's the only thing. I have to be able to save them in a file somehow. Maybe in the settings file, like a settings file, settings.json. Right, because we're going to have to be able to keep this information somehow. So in my expense class, rather than having categories and methods be added to a set, this would be dot add into the set on this class method. So we could go print. Sorry, you guys. Sorry. Mahan says no Leet today, right? Just asking. Yeah, my brain's a little bit burnt for Leet code. I'm sorry. I know you guys were excited for Leet code. I'm sorry to be the disappointer, but we will do some Leet code tomorrow. I promise. I will go to bed earlier tonight and get a good night's rest. But I stayed up till like 1:30 last night. Got up at 6 for work. Went to work. Did my chemistry work, and then I'm here doing my stream. So we are on running on empty. We are running on fumes right now, but it's all right. I'm having fun though. So, but I am pretty beat, and I want to be completely focused and like not foggy at all for when we do Leet code. I want to be present for that. So tomorrow, you guys, if you guys are wanting that and excited for Leet code, please subscribe and join so you guys can be here tomorrow, where I stream every day at 7 p.m. PST. At least during the week, and on the weekends I'll change up the time a little bit. But we will do Leet code tomorrow. Well, yeah, yeah, Mahan. You're probably like, this is the longest warm up ever. Well, come on, man, right? Sorry, sorry. I got really into the project here. We started cooking on features, and I really started to enjoy this thing. So okay, but yeah, I think that this is a good place to maybe stop here, um, and just take a break out of this. But I do want to. What is a problem before we go for today? We are at the 2 hour mark, so I was going to call it a little bit earlier today, not do 2.5 hours, but just do two today. I do a minimum of 2 to 2.5 hours every single day, sometimes three, and sometimes even like four on days where we're really, really going. But the weekends I usually do about 4 or 5 hours every day on those days. But every day at least 2 to 2.5 hours is my goal. So we're at the 2 hour mark, but before we go, because I'm just gonna call it a little bit earlier today. Like I said, I'm tired. I I do want to maybe take a peek at the problem. So you guys have any recommendations for the next problem that we should solve? What would be a good next one to take a stab at? Let's just take a little look at it, and so I can kind of sit with it, and then we can come back at it tomorrow and really take a good stab at it. But I want to take a peek at it and just kind of sit with it for a little bit. Mahan, anybody have some suggestions that they would like to take a look at here for a problem they think that would be fun for me to try, knowing my current abilities? Now, if you're going to be crazy and give me something really, really hard that I'll be struggling on, well, then you're just sick. But what do you guys got for me? Could do longest common prefix, valid parentheses. So this is kind of like creating a stack, I bet you. Merge two sorted lists. Remove duplicates, remove element. Oh, the neat code. That's right. You guys told me to do the neat code 151, right? Let's see. Let me go over here. Let me see. All right, so this is my neat code. I guess I already have done two problems here. I remember actually I did these two problems when I was first kind of figuring out what DSA was. I did do two problems here on the roadmap. So here's two sum again. So this is my contains duplicate here. Oh, it's not going to give me the answer I submitted. Here we go. So this is the answer that I submitted here, which is probably not the most efficient one because I did this one a while ago. I gave an answer of new numbers for every number in nums. If nums in new nums, return that, else append the new number. Append the number into nums and return false. So this is what I wrote for this one. And then in the valid anagram, this is the solution I did for this one. So I used the sorted function in this one and just did that, return true. My first attempt was this. And so then I realized that, well, if it's sorted, actually, I don't need to, try to do it myself or whatever through S and T and find whatever. So yeah. Check 125. Valid palindrome. A phrase is a palindrome if, after converting all uppercase letters into lowercase letters and removing all non alphanumeric characters, it reads the same forward and backward. Alphanumeric characters include letters and numbers. Given a string S, return true if it is a palindrome. So this is like race car, car race. Panama Canal, Panama. Yeah, race a car, race car. Race a car. Levi Richardson says, "How long you've been learning Python? Seems like you're quite a bit ahead of me." Yeah, well, don't be discouraged at all if you're, comparisons are killer. Don't try not to compare at all. I've only been doing this for about 6 7 months. I started very part time over the course of this last summer, and like ramped up to like everyday studying. About 2.5 3 months ago, and so I've only been doing this pretty seriously for about 4 or 5 months, but I started about 6 7 months ago, and I've just been doing a lot of practice. I've been putting in a lot of time every day, into learning and reading out of these books, and thinking about these problems, editing up my videos, hearing the topics again. So I've just gotten a lot, just hours on hours of just practice so far. So I think that's what attributes to my progress so far. But obviously, everybody has their own life going on and responsibilities. So, I mean, if you can't put in the same amount of hours, don't be discouraged. Just do whatever you can. It's I make sacrifices in other parts of my life to be able to study this much, right? So, think about the pros and cons. Like I'm studying for 2.5 3 hours a day after my 9 to 5 job, so that kind of limits ability to do other things, like and so it's all pros and cons for everything. So, you know, don't yeah exactly, debt steal. Comparison's the thief of joy. That's the old saying, right? I bet you're a lot better than you think. Still I have this kind of, you know, imposter syndrome for a beginner standpoint. I still kind of view myself as a beginner, even though I'm kind of moving on to that intermediate realm. And so, but I still have that feeling that I'm new and that I'm beginner, and I'm not there yet. So, it's really quite it's really cool actually. So my first thought, the palindrome. So my first idea is to try to split the hold up. Um or no, it was 151. Palindrome. Where was that at? Palindrome. Palindrome. It was an easy, I know that. Hmm. So my first a palindrome it is equal to what it is forward and backwards. So at some point it is mirrored, right? So can we do like a Control F palindrome? That's a good idea. So my idea, was it a car or was it a cat? Was it a car or was it a cat? Okay, so my idea with this one. Now, I'm not going to solve this one today. I just wanted to take a look at it before we kind of wrap things up. But my initial thought is a valid palindrome is a mirror, right? You mirror across the midpoint. So can we not just binary search? in a way, can we not just split this value, this string in half, start it from the midpoint and go one value to the right and left and just check that they're the same? Or can we slice from the midpoint forward and the midpoint backward and compare those strings are equal? Those are my two thoughts initially. Like, can we, it's a mirror. Can we slice down the middle and compare the two strings? If they're equal, return. Or do we need to go character by character and determine on a character by character basis? What do you mean STH? I've heard you use that terminology. I've seen you use that before, and I didn't really. Has to do with the S to do with binary? I like your second approach. Okay, so if we split on the midpoint of the string and then or if we just slice from the midpoint forward and the midpoint backward and then just compare the two strings, well, that would give you a direct comparison of string to string and give you a check, a constant time check. The only thing is you would have to slice from n divided by 2 twice. So 2n divided by 2 or n in this case. It would take O of n time. That approach. Oh, something. Okay. Something is how cool people say something. It is a two-pointer concept that we talked about before. No, I mean the character by character. Okay, so to split in the middle and then iterate character by character, left and right, and compare to make sure that they are the same. Oh, because if you split off the middle and compare those strings, no, because one is the mirror, right? So that would not evaluate the true. You would split off the middle. One has the correct left to right format and the other is right to left. So that would have to be mirrored first to do that comparison. Yeah, Wenkong, this is the neat code 150 here. All right, that's giving me a good starting place to think about here. By two pointer concept, do you mean like two variable or two tracker? Is that what you mean by pointer? I hear people reference that quite a bit. Yeah, awesome, Wenghong. That sounds great. Yeah, we're gonna dive down that right now, or not right now. I'm just getting a little bit of a preview today, and then tomorrow we'll dive into some more Leet code or neat code. It's just a two variable tracker, Mahan. Okay. Hey, Adi, welcome in. I'm sorry, but we're kind of wrapping things up here for today. But you're coming in on the tail end. But if you can, feel free to watch back. One starts from one end, from end one, and start. One starts from awesome. Well, I really well we have 26 people in here. I kind of don't want to end it. We got so many people in here, but I really appreciate you guys joining me here. For those that are new, I'll just really quickly introduce myself before I sign off. My name is Michael. I'm 25. I'm going to turn 26 actually this month here. My goal is to hit 1,000 subscribers before my birthday at the end of the month. So I think we can do it. We're on track. So if you guys are enjoying your time with me here, learning Python and various other computer science topics, feel free to follow along and join me here. We've come a long ways. I have a direct, tracking of my progress here, so you can go back a couple of months and see that I'm getting quite a lot of progress here. So it's really nice to see. Um, I graduated back in 2021 with a degree in human biology, a minor in chemistry, and I work as a formulation chemist for a biotech company. I got a job right out of college back in 2021, 2022. And I've been working there ever since. I'm a kind of a mid-level scientist, chemist. I'm a scientist too. It's been a great, opportunity, and I've been teaching myself to program for about 6, 7 months now. I started with Harvard CS50P, completed that course very part-time over the summer 2024, and then since I completed that course, I started this channel, and I've been really grinding, learning and teaching myself this material because I really, really enjoy it, and I find it very satisfying and interesting, and it's very rewarding at the end of the day. And so, like I said, if this is something that you're interested in and you like this format, studying together, it's kind of like a peer to peer, as if we like kind of booked a study room together back in college in the library, and we were just working together on our homework. You can either use this as an opportunity to study along with me when I'm learning on the screen, if you're also learning programming, or you can also just have it on in the background to hold yourself accountable in your own work, because I do study sessions daily. And so if you have homework or whatever, work in your own environment that you're struggling to complete, and hold yourself accountable, throw the stream on in the background as kind of a reminder to, this is time to work, and time to get things done, and you can be productive together here, which is really awesome. It's another tool that we can use the stream for. But um, yeah, so that's kind of just my gist. Thanks so much for joining me, you guys. Tomorrow we're going to actually dive into these Leet code problems. Today we worked on implementing some features on our project, our small business manager. Really quickly, we worked on the expense menu. So in our actual program here, we have an expenses menu with option 3. We can actually add expenses that get populated into this JSON document. We can pull those expenses and find them in our inventory, right? If we give an expense that's not there, we get an error. But if we give an expense that is located, we can pull that directly up and update like things like the amount for $40, and so it got converted to 4,000 cents there. So it does live updates. It's really cool. We implemented this today. We also let me go ahead and run one more time. We also added in the ability to, when we find an expense, right, to be able to update not only the amount, but the date, the description, and the note. And so our next thing for what we're going to do is update the category and methods, but I want the user to be able to hard code in their own methods and categories specific to them. So in the settings menu of this whole program, they'll be able to add in like a set of categories and methods that they can then continually reference when they add expenses and update these attributes. So they can add in their credit cards or their specific categories for, like, they have transportation or whatever their business has expenses for. They can appropriately categorize it with their methods in the settings menu. So we'll do that next time. But really quickly here in the edit expense, if we press 7 here, we need to add in there we had a bug. Yes, expenses, find edit number 1. If you press 7, we go back to the expense menu like that. There we go. Cool. So yeah, that updates those. So we worked on this today. I was really tired after my work today, so I was just kind of wanting to work on something I was more familiar with. But tomorrow, you guys, like we did yesterday. So yesterday we completed a few Leet code problems and got into that. We completed the two-sum problem and the is duplicate problem. No, two-sum. We completed the two-sum and my status solved. Find closest number to 0. Sorry. So yeah, we completed these 2 yesterday. So tomorrow we will complete a few more. I just was really tired today. I want to make sure I'm focused for the Leet code, to make sure I'm getting everything. When I'm coding, I can kind of just chill and program and stuff. But when I'm solving these problems, it takes a lot of brain power, and I just did not have the capacity to go down this road today. But I will tomorrow. I promise you guys I'll get some good night's sleep tonight. I stayed up way too late last night. But I really appreciate you guys joining me today. Um, I'll be back tomorrow at 7 p.m. PST. Join my Discord linked down below, where you can get access to all of my study resources, from the PDFs I'm learning live on the stream, to my notes, to my GitHub repos, to my project showcases, to all of my solutions for the Harvard CS50X course so far. I'm doing live updates to those threads. I need to go back in and update for the completed CS50P that I already did. So if you're doing CS50P, I'll be putting my resources from that course I did back last summer in there as well. So yeah, I'm just creating a community here of programmers all alike, of all kind of experiences, and um, you know coming together just to study and learn together. So if this is something you're interested in, thanks so much for supporting me, you guys. We just crossed over 900 subs, so it's really awesome you guys joined me here. Hey Felipe, I'm sorry, I'm about to just kind of sign off. I know, it's so sad. You'll have to go back and watch the VOD here, but no, I really appreciate you joining here, Felipe. Come back tomorrow, please, please, and we can chat some more, or join the Discord and chat with me offline here. I'm just kind of getting pretty tired, and I need to kind of wrap up things and hit to bed. I got work tomorrow morning. Yes, 900 subs. You guys are awesome. It's all thanks to you guys. So thanks so much for joining me, guys. Again, sorry I say it again, but I want to make sure everyone knows. Join the Discord so we can chat offline. Thanks so much for supporting me, you guys. You guys are the backbone of this channel, honestly. You guys make this so fun, and honestly, this whole process is really enjoyable. So I'll see you guys tomorrow. We'll be back at it then.